Welcome to the Lake Worth Playhouse. I'm Joyce Brown.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Joyce.
That's okay.
The cast and the crew of the Woody Guthrie Show want to thank you sincerely for everything you've done to put this show together and for all your support of live music. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes. Very special cast and crew as well. We have been working, that's a royal we, because this cast has been working for over 4 months to learn all about Woody Guthrie and all of Woody Guthrie's songs. And you're going to have an amazing, amazing production tonight. They've done an incredible job. If you look through your programs, and I hope there were enough for all of you, you're going to see that this cast, each one of these cast members is listed in the program. What I'd love for you to do is to focus in on each of them tonight and follow them when they go and perform all over this county. They deserve groupies like you in their audiences. And we hope you'll all take advantage of that. This is the 100th birthday of Woody Guthrie's 100th birthday. It's also the 100th birthday of Lake Worth. And this, yes, isn't it a coincidence? And wonderful things are happening all over Lake Worth. This concert benefits 4 of Lake Worth organizations. First of all, it benefits this theater, which I hope now that you've been in it, I'm sure many of you have been here before, but I'd love for you to make sure that you get their program and come back and see as many of their programs as possible, and also to contribute to them and to all of the other nonprofits in this town. The second nonprofit that this benefits is Lula. Lula is the arts district of Lake Worth, and it was formed by the CRA, and they are bringing arts and music and even culinary arts to Lake Worth, working their hearts out to do that, and they deserve a lot of support. The Downtown Cultural Alliance is the third organization that this benefits, and the Downtown Cultural Alliance puts on the first and third Fridays each month, and there's something that you really Lake Worth is really waking up, and you need to be here to wake it up and wake up with it. It's a great little town, and we really want people to come here. The fourth organization is the Clay Glass Metal Stone Gallery, who produced this concert today. And we welcome you to come visit us at our old location for another few days or weeks. And then we're moving to 15 South J Street for a new location. So we hope you'll all go to our old location and then find us at our new location. I want to thank the UAW tonight because they provided scholarship money for 20 children to come to see this concert today. The retirees of the UAW, Tony Franchetta is here tonight. He's from Flora. And as you'll see, this is a very relevant concert to unions tonight and support of unions tonight. I also want to thank the Woody Guthrie Foundation, woodyguthrie.org. They were very supportive of us, and they helped us out of a few little pickles that we might have gotten into were it not for them. When you walked in tonight, you heard music playing. The music you heard is the cast recording of 12 of the songs that you're going to hear tonight. The recordings are available in the lobby during intermission, and I'll even stay after the show if you're not quite sure and have to hear the whole show to want to buy one. But the recordings themselves and the sale of recordings will help the musicians and will help us pay for this concert. So that we hope you will take that into consideration, come out there and buy that. We also have the Phil Oakes documentary that was made last year for sale. I want to thank you all for coming. I want you to turn off your cell phones. And I want you to be really happy and sing along with this concert because you will see all of the words flashed on the screen before you. Thank you very much.
California. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. As I was walking the ribbon of highway, I saw above me that endless skyway. I saw below me that golden valley. This land was made for you and me.
Woody Guthrie, the prolific Dust Bowl refugee songwriter, crisscrossed the country with a guitar slung over his shoulder, hitching rides and hopping freight trains. He had a sense of social fair play that made him a champion of the poor, the displaced, working class men and women. Woody wrote simple songs about giant issues, draped over borrowed tunes like a multicolored dreamcoat. His songs stirred the hearts of Americans when he sang them, first for migrant field workers, miners, and striking factory workers, and later on glittery stages and national radio shows.
I've roamed and rambled, and I followed my footsteps through the sparkling sands of her diamond desert, and all around me her voice was sounding. This land was made for you and me.
For the first 9 years of his life, Woodrow Wilson Guthrie shared the name of the President of the United States, who gained the Democratic nomination shortly before Woody was born in July 1912. Woody was a creative child whose artistic talents led to etched cartoons on just about everything he touched, and future employment as a sign painter. The fond memories of his childhood, though few, included accompanying his father as he stumped around the county seeking political office. But more prominent were the hours he spent listening to his mother, Nora, singing songs that had been passed down, hard-edged folk songs of passion and dreams and lust and revenge. The tradition of old country musicians was to take a familiar tune and put lyrics to it that expressed their own story. Young Woody listened carefully to those songs sung by his mother, with tunes that would form the basis for his own songs.
When the sun came shining and I was strolling, and the wheat fields waving and the dust clouds rolling, as the fog was lifting, their voice was chanting, this land was made for you and me.
Woody's father, Charlie, was a businessman, and the Guthries and their 5 children lived comfortably at first. But Woody's childhood would be touched by tragedy. The Guthries' dream house burned to the ground, and his sister, Clara, was killed in another fire. Yet another fire nearly killed his father. When Woody was 17, his mother, Nora, died from the hereditary Huntington's disease. After suffering a long decline and being hospitalized for the final 2 years of her life, the affluence of the Guthries was wiped out, with crashing real estate values during the chaos of an Oklahoma oil boom. And after Nora's hospitalization, the family scattered. Charlie and 2 kids moved to Pampa, Texas, and Woody remained with his older brother Roy in Okemah, Oklahoma, but often slept on the couches of friends. Woody followed his dad to Pampa in 1929 and married Mary Jennings in 1933, with whom he had 3 children, Gwendolyn, Sue, and Bill. He found fairly regular work during much of the Depression, playing music, painting signs, and working as a soda jerk. The family was living in Pampa on Black Sunday, April 14th, 1935. But the towering wall of black topsoil that turned off the lights at midday was nothing new in that dusty whistle stop. The panhandles of Texas and Oklahoma had been getting dust storms for years, with winds reaching 60 miles an hour. Woody, who'd always been had an independent streak, left his young wife of 2 years and their children and hit the road, hitchhiking and hopping trains. He took month-long trips to East Texas, then Kanawha, Oklahoma, then Fort Smith, Arkansas. Then he joined the mass migration of Okies, Texies, and Arkies and headed west to California.
I've sung this song and I'll sing it again. The place that I live in the wide open in a month called April in a county called Gray. Here's what all of the people would say. They'd say, so long, it's been good to know you. So long, it's been good to know you. So long, it's been good to know you. This dusty old dust is getting my home, and I got to be drifting along. Just on hitting it, hit like thunder, dusting us over and covered us under, blocked out the traffic and blocked out the sun. Straight for home, all the people did run singing, so long, it's been good to know you. So long, it's been good to know you. So long, it's been good to know you. This dusty old dust is getting my home, and I got to be drifting along. We talked to the end of the world, and then we'd sing the song, then sing it again. We'd sit for an hour, not say a word, then these words would be heard singing, so long, it's been good to know you. So long, it's been good to know you. So long, it's been good to know you. This dusty old dust is getting my home, and I got to be drifting along. Sweethearts sat in the dark and they sparked. They hugged and they kissed in that dusty old dark. They sighed and they cried, they hugged and they kissed. Instead of marriage, they talked like this, and so long, it's been good to know you. So long, it's been good to know you. So long, it's been good to know you. This dusty old dust is getting my home, and I got to be drifting along. Now the telephone rang and it jumped off the wall. That was the preacher, he was making his call. Said, kind friend, this may the end. You got your last chance of salvation. Sin singing, so long, it's been good to know you. So long, it's been good to know you. So long, it's been good to know you. This dusty old dust is getting my home, and I got to be drifting along. The churches were jammed and the churches were packed, and that dusty old dust storm was blowing so back. The preacher could not read a word of his text, so he took out his text and he took up collection, said
So long, it's been good to know ya. So long, it's been good to know ya. So long, it's been good to know ya. This dusty old dust is getting my home. I've got to be drifting along.
Through his music, Woody became the embodiment of the uprooted masses of desperate Americans in a shameful period of our history, when dirt farmers by the hundreds of thousands, ruined by the Depression and drought, were forced to abandon their homes and family farms. The era became defined by a wire service description of one of the hardest hit regions, the Dust Bowl. And the exodus of those poor families, with all their worldly belongings stacked onto cars and trucks heading west to find a new life, became the largest migration in U.S. history.
It's back in 1927, had a little farm, called that heaven. Prices up, rain come down, all my crops all into town. Got the money, bought the clothes and groceries, fed the kids and raised a family. Rain quit and wind got high, black old dust cone filled the sky. And I swapped my farm for a Ford machine, pulled it forward to this gasoline. Started rocking and rolling over the mound out towards the old beach road. Way up yonder on the mountain road, I had a hot motor and a heavy load. Going pretty fast, wasn't even stopping. I'm bouncing up and down like a popcorn popping. Had a breakdown, sort of a nervous bust-down of some kind. There was a fella there, a mechanic fella, said he was in giant trouble. It's way up yonder on the mountain curve, way up yonder in the piney wood. Give that rolling Ford a shove. Was gonna coast as far as I could. Commence coasting, picking up speed. It's a hairpin turn I didn't make. Man alive, I'm telling you. Fiddles, guitars really flew. Ford took off like a flying squirrel. Flew halfway around the world. Scattered wives and children all over the side of that mountain. Take it away. We got out, and West Coast broke, so dadgam hungry I thought I'd croak. Thumbed up, spud or two, wife fixed up potato stew. Boy, the kid's full of mighty thin stew though. Read a magazine right through it. Always had it figured that been a little bit thinner. Some of these here politicians could have seen right through it.
Although never a farm worker himself, Woody traveled and lived among Dust Bowl refugees, now California migrant workers, and developed a deep empathy for them. The Dirty 30s, identified as the greatest natural catastrophe in the country's history, saw millions migrate and left 500,000 homeless. Most went west to California, where they were charged exorbitantly and illegally to cross the state line, then forced to live in migrant camps under miserable conditions. There, the able-bodied were exploited, working long hours, picking for pennies a day, while their families starved.
lots of folks back east, they say, leaving home most every day. Moving down the dusty way to the California line. Well, desert sands they roll, leading out of that old dust bowl. They think they're going to Sugar Bowl. Here is what they find. Now the police at the port of entry say, you're number 14,000 for the day. If you ain't got that do-re-mi, boy, if you ain't got that do-re-mi, well, you better go back to beautiful Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Georgia, Tennessee. California is a garden of Eden, a paradise to live in or see. But believe it or not, you won't find it so hot if you ain't got that do-re-mi. By the mountain or the sea. Don't swap your old cow for a car. You better stay right where you are. You better take this little tip from me. 'Cause I look through the one ads every day, and the headlines on the papers always say, if you ain't got that do-re-mi, boy, you ain't got that do-re-mi, well, you better go back to beautiful Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Georgia, Tennessee. California is a garden of Eden, a paradise to live in or see. But believe it or not, you won't find it so hot if you ain't got that do-re-mi. Believe it or not, you won't find it so hot if you ain't got that do-re-mi.
The shocking conditions of the times, illustrated in the popular Steinbeck novel, The Grapes of Wrath, provoked Woody to write and sing songs like Pastures of Plenty, an ode to the displaced agricultural workers of the Dust Bowl, that used the tune of the Old English and Appalachian folk song, Pretty Polly.
It's a mighty hard road, my poor hands have fought, my poor feet have traveled this hard dusty road. Out of your dust bowl and westward we roam, through desert so hot and through mountains so cold. I've wandered all over your green rolling land. Wherever your crops are, I lend you my hand. On the edge of your cities, you'll see me, and then I'll come with the dust, and I'm gone with the wind. Virginia, California, Arizona. I worked on your crops, and I've been up to Oregon to gather your house. I've done beats from the ground, I've cut grapes from your vine to set at your table, and that white sparkling wine. So green pastures of plenty, from the dry desert ground, from the Grand Coulee now where the waters run down. In every state of this union, we migrants have been. We work hard on the land, and we'll fight till we win. So as always we ramble that river and I, all along your green valleys, I'll work till I die. Travel this road until death sets me free, because pastures of plenty I must always be free. Thank you very much.
When Woody traveled, he preferred to stand along a highway and hitch rides. But when the roads were clogged with homeless wanderers, he resorted to hopping a moving boxcar. Woody was enamored of the hobo culture, and many of his songs reflect that lifestyle, dodging the violent railroad bulls, the hum of the steel rails, and warming hands around a fiery 55-gallon drum in some train yard. He often called Goebel Reeves' hit Hobo's Lullaby his favorite song, and Woody's cover of the song is the most well-known.
Go to sleep, you weary hobo. Let the towns drift slowly by. Can't you hear the steel rails humming? That's the hobo's lullaby. I know your clothes are torn and tattered, and your hair is turning gray. Lift your head and smile at trouble. You'll find rest and rest someday. Now don't you worry about tomorrow. Let tomorrow come and go. Tonight you're in a nice warm boxcar, safe from all the wind and snow. Go to sleep, you weary hobo. Let the towns drift slowly by. Can't you hear the steel rails humming? That's the hobo's lullaby. I know the police cause you trouble. They trouble everywhere. But when you die and go to heaven, you'll find no trouble there. So go to sleep, you weary hobo. Let the towns drift slowly by. Can't you hear the steel rails humming? That's the hobo's lullaby. Can't you hear the steel rails humming? That's the hobo's lullaby.
Woody had a music show on KFVD radio in Los Angeles that went on the air at 11 p.m. when the airwaves were fairly quiet and the show could be picked up halfway across the country. The Woody and Lefty Lou show was a hit with country music fans, and in the late 1930s, a significant portion of the population of Los Angeles consisted of Dust Bowl refugees who were nostalgic about their lost lives on the farm. They related to Woody's songs, which exposed the poor working conditions of agricultural laborers and the need to organize. Woody struck a chord with his fellow Okies and became famous across the West.
I've been having some hard traveling.
I thought you'd know.
I've been having some hard traveling.
Way down the road.
I've been having some hard traveling, hard rambling, hard gambling. I've been having some hard traveling, Lord. I've been riding on fast travelers.
I thought you'd know.
I've been riding on strike wheelers.
Way down the road.
Riding on line passengers, and daddies kicking up cinders. I've been having some
Hard traveling, Lord.
I've been hitting some hard rock mining,
I thought you'd know.
and I've been leaning on a pressure drill.
Way down the road.
A hammer flying, air hole circuit, a 6-minute knot. I sure got a bucket. I've been having some
Hard traveling, Lord.
Here we go. So I've been hitting some hard harvesting.
I thought you'd know.
North Dakota and Kansas City.
Way down the road.
I'm cutting that weed and snacking that hay. I'm trying to make about $1 a day. I've been hitting some
Hard traveling, Lord.
I hear ya. Oh, I've been working at Pittsburgh Steel.
I thought you'd know.
I've been dumping that red hot slide.
Way down the road.
I've been a blasting, I've been a firing, I've been a pouring red hot iron. I've been hitting some
Hard traveling, Lord.
You're singing, and I've been laying in a hard rock chair.
I thought you'd know.
And I've been laying out 90 days.
Way down the road.
A damn old judge you said to me was 90 days for vagrancy. I've been hitting some
Hard traveling, Lord.
everybody now. I've been walking that Lincoln Highway.
I thought you'd know.
And I've been hitting that 66.
Way down the road.
A heavy load on a worried mind. I'm looking for a woman that's hard to find. I've been hitting some hard traveling low.
Radio station KFVD owner Frank Burke, who greatly admired Woody, was a prominent liberal who used the station for fiery editorials. While working for Burke, Woody went on a tour of migrant camps in the spring of 1937. Woody had met a young actor named Will Geer, who had become a lifelong friend, and the two became a duo, playing and singing for the workers in the migrant camps of Central California. Woody saw how growers mistreated workers, paid them starvation wages, while using an army of enforcers to violently keep them in line. The land barons had the California police and politicians in their pockets, and 5 workers competing for every job in the fields. From these visits, Woody came to understand that the idea of migrating to California for a better life was a sham, and references to a California paradise where the water tastes like wine had lured hundreds of thousands of farm workers to a life of misery and exploitation. One song in particular opened Woody's eyes, a popular Carter family tune called "This World Is Not My Home." It proselytized about putting up with the abuse and misery and wages of $3 a week in the hope of being rewarded in heaven. Woody had an epiphany. He saw these Carter family lyrics as a con job to keep the workers compliant, and he heard this theme in other popular songs and became angry. He wrote a scathing answer to the Carters, and where they had used sugar-coated platitudes, he used the gritty images of real-life struggles that common people face daily, suffering at the hands of the rich.
I ain't got no home, I'm just roaming around, just a wandering worker. I go from town to town, police make it hard wherever I may go. I ain't got no home in this world anymore. Brothers and my sisters are stranded on this road, hard and dusty road that 1,000,000 feet have trod. Rich man took my home and drove me from my door. I ain't got no home in this world anymore. Was a farming on the shares, and always I was poor. My crops I laid into the banker's store. My wife took down and died upon the cabin floor. I ain't got no home in this world anymore. I ain't got no home in this world anymore. it's mighty plain to see. This world's such a great and a funny place to be. The gambling man is rich and the working man is poor. I ain't got no home in this world anymore.
On Woody's radio show, he once got a lesson in sensitivity when he thoughtlessly played a song that included racial slurs and soon received a letter from an African American who took him to task and reminded him of the suffering that blacks had endured in this country. Pete Seeger tells a story that the next night on the air, Woody read the letter to his listeners, apologized, and then held the song up next to the microphone and tore it up for all to hear. Here's a song Woody related to and recorded, written by a former slave who escaped to the north, also under the delusion that the water would taste like wine.
Say I'm a dust for refugee, Lord, ain't gonna be treated this way. I'm looking for a job that honest pay. I'm looking for a job at honest pay. I'm looking for a job at honest pay, Lord, Lord, ain't gonna be treated this way. All right, take it away now. Children need 3 square meals a day. My children need
$2 sugar hurts my feet, Lord, Lord. Ain't gonna be treated this old way. I'm going down this old dusty road. I'm going down this old dusty road. I'm going down this old dusty road, Lord, Lord. Ain't gonna be treated this old way.
Yeah. What he had seen from his travels to the migrant camps, that unions and the Communist Party were the only organization helping workers fight for their rights. And he became a firm supporter of both. At that time, most with communist leanings revered the Soviet Union as a promised land of true freedom where all were equal, while of course despising Germany as the fascist bully it was. But when the Russians signed a non-aggression pact with Germany and invaded Poland, the radio station owner became disillusioned with the Soviets. This became a rift with Woody, who was still a staunch supporter of communism. And Woody lost his radio show. Woody's empathy for the downtrodden led him to view the outlaw Pretty Boy Floyd as a sort of Robin Hood figure. And in March 1939, he wrote a romanticized song about Floyd, noting how his morality compared favorably to that of bankers and capitalists profiting from the impoverishment of the population. One poignant line says, "As through this world you travel, you'll meet some funny men. Some will rob you with a 6-gun, and some with a fountain pen."
Ready, boys? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Gather round me, children. The story I will tell about Pretty Boy Floyd, the outlaw of Oklahoma. I knew him well, and it was in the town of Shawnee on a Saturday afternoon. Wife beside him in the wagon as into town they rode. Deputy sheriff approached him in a manner rather rude. Vulgar words of anger, his wife she overheard. Deputy whipped the dog chain and the deputy grabbed his gun. And in the fight that followed, he laid that deputy down. Took to the trees and the timber and lived a life of shame. Every town in Oklahoma was added to his name. Take it. Many a starving farmer, that same old story told. How an outlaw gave their mortgage and saved their little home. Others tell you about son that came to beg a meal, and underneath his napkin was $1,000 bill. It was in Oklahoma City, and it was on a Christmas day. Whole carload of groceries came with a note to say, "Well, you say that I'm an outlaw, you say that I'm a thief. Here's a Christmas dinner for the families on relief." Ricky. Yes, through this world you've gathered lots of funny men. Some will ride in the mountain, and some with a fountain pen. Through your life you travel, and through your life you roam. Never find an outlaw drive a family from his home.
Getting more involved with the Communist Party, in 1939, Woody began writing a column called Woody Says in People's World. In a column he titled I Hate a Song, Woody wrote,
I hate a song that makes you feel like you're not any good. No matter what color, what size you are, how you're built, I'm out to sing the songs that make you take pride in yourself and in your work. And the songs that I sing are made up for the most part by all sorts of folks just about like you. I could hire out to the other side, the big money side, get several dollars every week just to quit singing my own songs and to sing the kind that knock you down farther and the ones that poke fun at you even more, the ones that make you think you've not got any sense at all. But I decided a long time ago I'd starve to death before I'd sing any such songs as that. Your radio waves and your movies and your jukeboxes and your songbooks are already loaded down and running over with no good songs as that anyhow.
When asked why he scrawled, "This machine kills fascists," across the front of his guitar, Woody replied,
Well, you see, this guitar makes me feel like beating the fascists. And then that makes me sing how much I hate them. And when I sing for a bunch of folks working, for soldiers, sailors, seamen, that sort of makes us all whip it up a little. Then we all get to feeling a little more like beating them. And of course, if a fascist then just sort of happens to get in our way, he just naturally comes out the loser, that's all. Come on, boys and girls, let's show these fascists what a bunch of hillbillies can do. Well, I'm right there, you fascists, you may be surprised. The people in this world are getting organized. You're bound to lose, you fascists bound to lose. Everyone! All you fascists bound to lose. I said, all you fascists bound to lose. Yes, sir. All you fascists bound to lose. You're bound to lose, you fascists bound to lose. Race hatred cannot stop us. This one thing we know. Your poll tax and Jim Crow and freedom's got to go. You're bound to lose, you fascists bound to lose. Everyone! All you fascists bound to lose. I said, all you fascists bound to lose. Yes, sir. All you fascists bound to lose. You're bound to lose. You fascists bound to lose. Great. People of every nation marching side by side, marching across these fields where 1,000,000 fascists died. You're bound to lose, you fascists bound to lose. Everyone! All you fascists bound to lose. All you fascists bound to lose. I said, all you fascists bound to lose. You're bound to lose, you fascists bound to lose. One more time. Don't do this bad.
In 1940, Woody was invited to New York by his old friend Will Geer to participate in the benefit called Grapes of Wrath Evening, and he ended up staying a while, meeting Pete Seeger and eventually appearing on CBS radio programs. Seeger immediately fell victim to Woody's wanderlust, and they were soon traveling the highways of America, first to Texas to visit Woody's family, then to Oklahoma, where Woody wrote one of his most memorable songs, Union Maid, in response to a request for a Union song about a woman. Pete Seeger said, "I'm proud to say I was present when Union Maid was written in June 1940 in the plain little office of the Oklahoma City Communist Party. Bob Wood, local organizer, had asked Woody Guthrie and me to sing there the night before for a small group of striking oil workers. Early the next morning, Woody got to the typewriter and hammered out the first two verses of Union Maid. Woody used the tune of the country standard, Red Wing, which inherited its melody from Robert Schumann's 1848 piece, Opus 68, number 10, The Happy Farmer.
There once was a Union maid, she never was afraid of the goons and the ginks and the company finks and the deputy sheriff who made the raid. Went to the Union Hall when a meeting it was called, and when the Legion boys came around, she always stood her ground. Oh, you can't scare me, I'm sticking to the Union. I'm sticking to the Union. I'm sticking to the Union. Oh, you can't scare me. I'm sticking to the Union. I'm sticking to the Union till the day I die. This Union maid was wise to the tricks of the company spies. She couldn't be fooled by a company stool. She'd always organize the guys. She always got her way when she struck for better pay, and show her card to the National Guard, and this is what she'd say. Oh, you can't scare me, I'm sticking to the Union. I'm sticking to the Union. I'm sticking to the Union. Oh, you can't scare me, I'm sticking to the Union. I'm sticking to the Union till the day I die. Break! Well, you women who want to be free, just take a tip from me. Break out of that mold we've all been sold. We've got to fight in history. Fight for women's rights. With workers must unite. Like Mother Jones, we stir them bones to the front of every fight. Oh, you can't scare me. I'm sticking to the Union. I'm sticking to the Union. I'm sticking to the Union. Oh, you can't scare me. I'm sticking to the Union. I'm sticking to the Union till the day I die. I'm sticking to the Union till the day I die. Arlo Guthrie, Woody's son, likes to tell the story that a woman in the crowd had said something that prompted Woody to write Union Maid. And the following day, when Woody played it for the striking workers, the very same woman approached him from the crowd and said, "You didn't write anything about the ladies' auxiliary." So Woody made up this song on the spot. Oh, the ladies' auxiliary is a very good auxiliary. about the best auxiliary that you ever did see. So if you need an auxiliary, try the ladies' auxiliary. That's the ladies' auxiliary.
In 1941, Woody returned to California, where he worked again briefly for KFVD and was then hired by the Department of the Interior to write songs for a film to promote hydroelectric power provided by a dam across the Columbia River in Washington state. It became one of the most productive periods of Woody's life, as he wrote 26 songs in 30 days. Roll On Columbia, which is now the official folk song of Washington state, is one of several songs Woody wrote to the tune of Good Night, Irene.
Waters have risen and cleared all the rocks. Shiploads of plenty will stream past the docks. Roll on, Columbia, roll on. Let's roll on, Columbia, roll on. Roll on, Columbia, roll on. Your power is turning our darkness to dawn. Roll on, Columbia, roll on. And on up the river, the grand Columbia band, mightiest thing ever built by man. To run these great factories, water the land. Roll on, Columbia.
After their month in the Pacific Northwest, Woody decided to head back to New York, the last straw for Mary, who took the kids and went back to Texas. They divorced. Woody's career blossomed in New York. He joined Millard Lampell, Lee Hayes, and Pete Seeger in the Almanac Singers, with whom he lived cooperatively in Almanac House in Greenwich Village. During the 40s, he also played in a group called the Headline Singers with Lead Belly, Sonny Terry, and Brownie McGee. In 1941, Alan Lomax suggested to Woody that, given his colorful life, he should write an autobiography. The book opens with Woody reminiscing about singing the popular 20s gospel tune, This Train, while riding on a train. His book, Bound for Glory, was published in 1944, and a film based on the book was released in 1976.
This train is bound for glory, this train. This train is bound for glory, this train. This train is bound for glory. Don't carry nothing but the righteous and the holy. This train is bound for glory, will this train. This train don't carry no gamblers, this train. This train don't carry no gamblers, this train. This train don't carry no gamblers, no liars, no thieves, no big shot ramblers. This train don't carry no gamblers, will this train. This train don't carry no liars, this train. This train don't carry no liars, well, this train. This train don't carry no liars, she's streamlined and a midnight fire. This train don't carry no liars, well, this train. This train don't carry no jokers, this train. This train don't carry no jokers, this train. This train don't carry no jokers, two-bit liar and cigar smoker. This train don't carry no jokers, this train. This train don't carry no comment, this train. This train don't carry no comment, this train. This train don't carry no comment, wheeler dealers here and gone, man. This train don't carry no comment, this train. This train don't carry no rustlers, this train. This train don't carry no rustlers, this train. This train don't carry no rustlers, streetwalkers, two-bit hustlers. This train is bound for glory, this train.
During the Spanish Civil War, the song Jarama Valley was written by Alex McDade of the British Battalion with lyrics to the tune of Red River Valley. Woody and Pete Seeger adapted the lyrics to become an homage to the Abraham Lincoln Brigade, volunteers from the U.S. who fought against Franco and the Spanish nationalists in that war and lost 125 heroes during the 1937 Battle of Jarama.
There's a valley in Spain called Jarama. It's a place that we all know so well. It was there that we fought against the fascists. We saw a peaceful valley turn to hell. From this valley they say we are going, but don't hasten to bid us adieu. Even though we lost the battle at Jarama, we'll set this valley free before we're through. We were men of the Lincoln Battalion. We are proud of the fight that we made. We know that you people of the valley remember our Lincoln Brigade. From this valley they say we are going, but don't hasten to bid us adieu. Even though we lost the battle at Jarama, we'll set this valley free before we're through. You will never find peace with these fascists. You will never find friends such as we. So remember that valley of Jarama and the people that'll set that valley free. From this valley they say we are going, but don't hasten to bid us adieu. Even though we lost the battle at Jarama, we'll set this valley free before we're through. Like this valley called Jarama, so green and so bright and so fair. No fascist can dwell in our valley, nor breathe in our new freedom's air. From this valley they say we are going, but don't hasten to bid us adieu. Even though we lost the battle at Jarama, we'll set this valley free before we're through.
At first, Woody and the Almanac Singers were staunchly anti-war and anti-FDR, and many of their recordings encouraged non-intervention in World War II. But their attitudes changed, especially after the bombing of Pearl Harbor and Germany's attack on Russia. A convoy escort, the Reuben James, was the first U.S. ship lost by enemy action in World War II, torpedoed and sunk on October 31st, 1941, with the loss of 115 crew members. Upon reading about this in the newspaper, Woody wrote a 15-verse song to the tune of Wildwood Flower, and he called it The Sinking of the Reuben James. The lyrics contained nothing but the names of the sailors. But the rest of the Almanac Singers convinced him to write a chorus, which became a classic.
Have you heard of a ship called the Good Reuben James? My the land of the free. But tonight she's in her grave at the bottom of the sea. Sing on. Tell me what were the names? Tell me what were the names? Did you have a friend on the good Reuben James? What were the names? Tell me what were their names? Do you have a friend on the good Reuben James? Well, 100 men went down in that dark watery grave. When the good ship went down, only 44 were saved. 'Twas the last day of October, and they say the 44 from the cold ocean waters and the cold icy shore. Tell me what were their names? Tell me what were their names? Do you have a friend on the good Reuben James? What were their names? Tell me what were their names? Do you have a friend on the good Reuben James? When tonight there are lights in our country so bright, in the farms and the cities, they are telling of the fight. And now our mighty battleships will steam the bounding main and remember the name of the good Reuben James. Here we go. Tell me what were their names? Tell me what were their names? Do you have a friend on the good Reuben James? What were their names? Tell me what were their names? Do you have a friend on the good Reuben James?
A traditional song covered by many artists, including the Carter family in 1930, Worried Man Blues was picked up by Woody and the Almanac Singers. The group was ostracized for its communist leanings and labeled by the FBI a seditious threat, and broke up in 1942. Pete Seeger joined the Army and shipped overseas the following year. After the war, Seeger, Lee Hayes, Fred Hellerman, and Ronnie Gilbert reformed as the Weavers and helped launch the folk revival of the 1950s and 60s.
Excuse me. Sorry. Things happen.
Go to commercial.
This is a commercial break. Unplanned.
How's everybody doing?
Unplanned. The strings just...
Tune that guitar.
It happens, folks.
Turn that guitar into a banjo.
It's a banjo. There's only so much you can do.
That's good.
All right.
Yeah.
It takes a worried man to sing a worried song. It takes a worried man to sing a worried song. It takes a worried man to sing a worried song. I'm worried now, but I won't be worried long. When I go the river, I lay down to sleep. When I cross the river, I lay down to sleep. When I cross the
As World War II continued, Woody joined the Merchant Marines and made 3 cruises. While on leave in 1944, he recorded This Land Is Your Land and other tunes with Ash Records, whose founder was Polish-Jewish-born Moses Ash. Ash changed the name of his label to Folkway Records when the music changed from 78 RPM to LP. Today, the Smithsonian Institute holds the Folkway recordings in its Smithsonian Folkway Archival Records, donated by Ash. Woody wrote the first lyrics to This Land Is Your Land in 1940, partially out of antipathy toward Irving Berlin's God Bless America, which he thought ignored some harsh realities. This land also reflects his love for the beauty and vastness of the country and his distaste for some of its social conditions. He took the tune from a Carter family song, Little Darlin' Pal of Mine, while the Carters had already taken the tune from the old Baptist hymn, Oh My Loving Brother.
This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. As I was walking that ribbon of highway, I saw above me that endless skyway. I saw below me that golden valley. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. I rode that railroad and followed my footsteps to the sparkling sands of her diamond desert. And all around me, her voice was sounding. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me.
When the sun came shining and I was strolling and the wheat fields weaving and the dust clouds rolling as the fog was lifting, our voice was chanting, oh, this land was made for you and me.
This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. This land was made for you and me.
While in New York, Woody met Martha Graham dancer Marjorie Greenblatt Mazia at the Almanac House when she was choreographing one of his songs. They dated and lived together in Greenwich Village, then married and moved to Brooklyn, across the street from Marjorie's mother, Eliza Greenblatt. They lived in Coney Island, where Jewish culture was as celebrated as music, poetry, social justice, and union activism. Woody and Eliza collaborated on Yiddish poetry and song projects. Woody is said to have developed a deep empathy for the Jewish people, whose struggles he likened to that of Okies and others struggling against oppression. Many of Woody's and Eliza's songs are performed today by the Klezmatics. and have also been performed by Yitzhak Perlman and Theodore Bickel. One of his Jewish songs, The Many and the Few, contains 20 verses, including these three.
My name is King Cyrus, my order I give. You Jews can go back to your homes to build your holy temple again in the land of Palestine. And we've sung and we've danced over hard rocky roads back to Eretz Yisrael's land. And we've worked with plow and rake and hoe, and we've blessed the works of our hands. Take it, boys. Prophet's dreams to you, and you'll be fertile and multiply if you keep your Torah true.
Woody and Marjorie had 4 children together: Kathy, Arlo, son Jody, and Nora, inspiring Woody to write a series of children's songs, 18 of which appear on the album Songs to Grow On for Mother and Child. While some of the songs are instructional, others, such as Good Night, Little Arlo, display obvious affection for his own children.
Put your finger in the air, in the air. Put your finger in the air, in the air. Put your finger in the air and thank the warrior. Put your finger in the air, in the air. Put your finger on your head, on your head.
On your head?
Put your finger on your head, on your head.
On your head.
Put your finger on your head and turn the green and red. Put your finger on your head, on your head. Put your finger on your nose, on your nose.
On your nose.
Put your finger on your nose, on your nose.
On your nose.
Put your finger on your nose and tell me, does it grow? Put your finger on your nose, on your nose. Put your finger in your ear, in your ear.
In your ear.
Put your finger in your ear, in your ear.
In your ear.
Put your finger in your ear, put your finger in your ear. Put your finger in your ear, in your ear. Why can't a dish break a hammer? Why? 'Cause a hammer's just a hard head. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Why, oh, why, oh, why? Why, oh, why? Because. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Why can't a bird eat an elephant? Why? 'Cause the elephant's got a pretty hard skin. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Why can't a mouse eat a streetcar? Why? 'Cause the mouse could never get a streetcar down in his tummy. That's goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Oh, why does a horn make music? Why? 'Cause a horn blower blows it. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Take me riding in your car. Take me riding in your car. Take me for a ride. Take me for a ride in your car. I wanna sit in your front seat. I wanna sit in your back seat. Front, back, clickety-clack. Take me for a ride in your car. Take me for a ride in your car. Take me for a ride in your car. Take me for a ride. Take me for a ride. Take me for a ride in your car. Dun, dun.
Their oldest child, Kathy, died tragically at the age of 4 in an electrical fire. Arlo is a well-known folk singer and songwriter today. Jody, named for Tom Joad from The Grapes of Wrath, lived most of his life in Albany, New York, and later moved to California, mostly living quietly and away from the limelight. Nora is the archivist for the Woody Guthrie Foundation. Woody's 3 children with his first wife, Mary, all died prematurely. Bill in an auto train accident at 23, and Gwendolyn and Sue of Huntington's disease at age 41. On March 25th, 1947, the Centralia, Illinois coal mine number 5 exploded and killed 111 miners. Woody wrote a song about the disaster, empathizing with a trapped miner who knows he's about to die. The song calls for improved safety conditions for all miners.
It happened an hour ago, way down in this tunnel of coal. The gas caught a fire from somebody's lamp, and my buddies are choking in smoke. Dear Daddy and Mother, goodbye. Dear sister and brother, goodbye. My fingers are weak and I cannot write goodbye. Centralia, goodbye.
It looks like the end for me, and all of my partners I see. When that work whistle blows and we don't come home, do all you can to help Mom. I can hear the moans and the groans of more than 100 good men. We're all writing letters to kids that we love. Please carry our notes to our wives.
Dear Daddy and Mother, goodbye. Dear sister and brother, goodbye. My fingers are weak and I cannot write goodbye. Centralia, goodbye. Now forgive me for things I've done wrong, 'cause I love you lots more than you know. Work and fight and clean up these mines, so fires can't kill daddies no more. And please name our new baby Joe, so he'll grow up like Big Joe. He'll make that old mine and boss clean up your mines, so fires can't break out here no more. Dear mother and father, goodbye. Dear sister and brother, goodbye. My fingers are weak and I cannot write goodbye. Centralia, goodbye. My fingers are weak and I cannot write goodbye. Centralia, goodbye.
In January 1948, Woody read about a plane crash in Los Gatos Canyon in Fresno County, California, that killed 28 migrant farm workers and the plane's crew. Woody was incensed at news reports that neglected to give the names of the migrant workers, referring to them only as deportees. He wrote a poem to them which contained symbolic Latino names for the victims. Nearly 10 years later, a school teacher named Martin Hoffman wrote the music. Pete Seeger made the song popular.
The crops are all in and the peaches are rotten. Oranges piled in their creosote dumps. You're flying them back to the Mexico border. Pay all their money to way back again. My father's own father, he waded that river, took all the money he made
wanted. Our work contract's out and we've got to move on. 600 miles to that Mexico border. Chase us like outlaws, like rustlers, like thieves. We died in your hills, we died in your deserts, died on your valleys and died on your plains. We died neath your trees and we died in your bushes, both sides of the river, we died just the same. Goodbye to my one, goodbye Rosalita, adios mis amigos, Jesus y Maria. You won't have your names when you ride the big airplane, all they will call you will be deportee. The sky plane caught fire over Los Gatos Canyon, fireball of lightning and shook all our hills. Who are these friends all scattered like dry leaves? Radio said they are just deportees. Is this the best way we can grow our big orchards? Is this the best way we can grow our good fruit? To fall like dry leaves and rot on my topsoil, be called by no name except deportee. Goodbye to my one, goodbye Rosalita, adios mis amigos, Jesus y Maria. You won't have your names when you ride the big airplane, all they will call you will be deportee. Goodbye to my one, goodbye Rosalita, adios mis amigos, Jesus y Maria. You won't have your name when you ride the big airplane, all they will call you will be deportee.
Woody Guthrie never worked the fields, lived long-term in a migrant labor camp, or mined for coal, but he became a champion for those who did. He had only a small taste of life riding the rails, but he became emblematic of the hobo culture. He was neither a great singer nor an accomplished guitar player, but he became one of the world's best-known singer-songwriters. He never stayed long at a job, but was a working-class hero. His politics were sometimes only lukewarm, but he was a giant figure and a spokesperson for labor rights and social justice. Late in his life, Woody had a mentoring relationship with Ramblin' Jack Elliott, the son of a Brooklyn Jewish surgeon. Elliott studied Woody's performance style and songwriting habits and was able to pass much of that knowledge on to Woody's son Arlo and another Woody admirer, Bob Dylan. Arlo, who said he was born too late to really get to know Woody, credited Elliott for helping him understand his father. And Dylan said of Woody, the songs themselves had an infinite sweep of humanity in them. He was the true voice of the American spirit. I said to myself, I was going to be Guthrie's greatest disciple. By 1952, Woody's mind, body, and marriage were strained, and he left for California, where he met and married his third wife, Annika von Kirk, with whom he lived briefly in Fruit Cove, Florida, near Jacksonville. Although they had a daughter together, Lorena Lynn, who would later die in an auto accident in her teens. Their marriage was brief, and Woody returned to New York. Woody checked himself into the hospital in 1954 and was diagnosed with Huntington's disease. Though his mom had lasted only 2 years in the hospital, Woody would live another 13 years. His second wife, Marjorie, cared for him during these hospitalizations, but his talents abandoned him one by one. First, the ability to hold the guitar, and eventually, the ability to sing. In the early days of his hospitalization, he could sometimes leave. Once, when he came to visit Marjorie and the kids, he told Arlo, who was only 7, to get a pencil and write something down for him. As Arlo scribbled, Woody recited the 4th and 5th verses of This Land Is Your Land that had not been included in the Ash recordings.
As I went walking, I saw a sign there, and on the sign it said, "No trespassing." But on the other side, it didn't say nothing. That sign was made for you and me.
One bright sunny morning, in the shadow of the steeple, by the relief office, I saw my people. They stood there hungry, and I stood there asking, is this land made for you and me?
Woody left the hospital again, accompanied by orderlies, to attend a benefit concert in 1957 at a small Manhattan theater called the Pythian Temple. There was a touching moment as Woody, sitting in a box seat with his attendants, was helped to stand up and waved down to the stage as a multitude of folk singers sang his songs. Woody Guthrie died of Huntington's disease in 1967 at the age of 55. He was cremated and his ashes scattered off Coney Island. After his death, Marjorie founded the Committee to Combat Huntington's Disease. Woody was posthumously inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame, the Nashville Songwriters Foundation, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and was posthumously awarded the Lifetime Achievement Award by the North American Folk Music and Dance Alliance. In 1998, Woody was featured on a 32-cent U.S. postage stamp. When Marjorie died, her ashes were also scattered over Coney Island. And on that day, when 7-year-old Arlo was scribbling down the lost 4th and 5th verses of This Land Is Your Land, his father asked him to keep writing. And this is the story relished in the telling by Pete Seeger, who's still performing for us today at 93. Woody told his little boy a 6th verse. Nobody had ever heard it before, says Seeger in wonderment. Did he make it up laying in the hospital? And this was Woody's final verse.
Nobody living can ever stop me as I go walking that freedom highway. Nobody living can ever make me turn back. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island.
Our players, Suzanne Cannon, Rick Cohen, Scott Goldblatt, Pat Mahoney. Pink Slip, Bill Byrne and Joan Friedenberger. Ginny Meredith. And Tracy Sand. I'm your narrator, Charlie Birnbaum. Our producer, Joyce Brown. Wardrobe, Kathleen Kirshner.
This land is my land, from California to the New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream water. This land was made for you and me.
This land is your land. One more time.
This land is my land, from California to the New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream water. This land was made for you and me.
Thank you. We all thank you, and remember, there's a cast recording available in the lobby.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
again.
coming.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And also, as lovers of this music, I'd like to tell you that next door in the Stanzik Theater, we're showing a movie this week called Greenwich Village, The Music That Defined the Generation. And having just listened to 2 hours of the music that defined the music that defined the generation, please come and see our movie next door. Thank you.